Hello everybody, Patrick Glenn Nichols, Muscle Car Barn Finds, and today I'm out here on the central coast of California. I was hired to come out here and inspect a 1970 Chevelle SS396 L34, not far from Pismo Beach, California. This car is a really nice, cool car. Been in California pretty much the entire life that it's been since it was assembled at the Van Nuys assembly plant. So a true California car you're looking at here. I mean, an unbelievable body that's on this car. It went to, I believe, Arizona for a short period and then up to Canada for a little while and then right back down here to the central coast of California. It's had some mods. It's got the Holley Sniper EFI, but it does have the original block in the car and the original rear axle. It is a pretty rare, pretty desirable car as well for air conditioning and 4-speed with bucket seats and console and tach and gauges. The provision for the tach and gauges is present as well. Again, a super solid Western body on this car, and it sounds really, really good. So I'll go around the car and touch on a few points on the car. Of course, the common reproduction parts here and there, and some of the stuff that the car retained from the original assembly line from back when it was assembled in the first week of April 1970. So here we go. Right off the bat, you can see I've got the trim rings off of the car. They are all dated together. And again, a lot of times, you know, the generally accepted window for the wheels is around 90 to 120 days. This is outside of that. These are late October wheels, but they're all dated together. So we are outside of the 120 days, but, you know, nobody can really tell this person that those wheels didn't come on this car. We are, you know, again, outside of, you know, 3-4 months behind the car, but they are all AO code and they all do match. So, you know, when these cars were built, they definitely were not thinking about somebody judging them, concours judging them and having some type of date window back in 1970. That's just something that we created since these cars have become so collectible over the last 2 to 3 decades. So there's been a, you know, of course, a guideline that we have set to what is generally accepted. So anyways, these are some really nice wheels. They are black on the inserts. A lot of guys are aware that I'm not a fan of that being black. There is some, you know, guys do like to debate that was once black when it was new and then it faded down to gray. I kind of want to debate that because I've had some serious low mile spare tires, especially one that was in an El Camino, I believe, never saw the light of day, behind the seats, covered with a, you know, with a wheel cover, leather cover over it, and it was gray. Very dark gray, was not black. So I don't know. In my opinion, I believe they are supposed to be the dark gray, you know, not really a cast gray, but a dark gray. But then, of course, that's my opinion. So here we go. As far as the glass is concerned, we have original glass on the side glass and the quarter glass. The front and rear are changed. I don't know if you're able to see that or not, but we have a TX right there. X would be February of 70. And then up here we have L for March and T for 70. So that definitely falls in line with the April built car. We have, of course, the common incorrect passenger side mirror. But if you can see, the SS396 emblems are spot on. Really nice early version of the Cowl Induction hood exists on this car. I will open the doors and go inside and address the inside in a few minutes, but we're going to stay outside for the time being. If you'll notice, it does have T3 headlights, but these here are the earlier version, which are incorrect without the lines in the triangle. But if you notice over here on the driver's side, low beam, we have the correct T3 with the lines in the triangle. And then the high beam is incorrect. So I believe we got one correct T3 headlight. And as usual, there, the reproduction, hood pin cables and pins, all of that is something purchased out of a catalog. As long as with the hood pin plates, if you notice, that's about a 3/4 of an inch or so hole for the stud to go through. On an original, it'll be about an 1/8 inch or more larger, but there's no doubt that hole is too small for that to be an original GM hood pin plate. But the paint on the car is very nice, as you can see. I mean, it pops in this very nice man cave style garage. So let's look under the hood a little bit. Right off the bat, as we normally do, you can see the really nice early version of the Cowl Induction hood and the correct cross with the flat sides on the solenoid. An original GM Cowl Induction air cleaner base. Of course, a lot of you guys understand that the lid never did come with a chrome plating. This engine has incorrect or aftermarket day 2 mod, an intake manifold and aluminum GM performance parts heads that have been painted orange, which to each their own. That's totally fine. For the, some people like that because this car really runs good. It's kind of got a modern twist to it with the EFI. Not my cup of tea, but we do have, and I don't think I could focus well enough on the CTX. Of course, this is the van. This car was born at the Van Nuys assembly plant. So those of you that are not aware, the VIN, partial VIN stamp on that particular, from that particular assembly plant will be down there by the oil filter. And you can see we have the car, of course, was equipped with the NA9 Evaporative Emission Control, RPO NA9, which is correct for a California car sold in the state of California. It must be there, which we've addressed before, like on the old L78 barn find that I found in the storage lot in Fresno. You can see we have a correct radiator top plate. We've been over before, but these are some things that we have to address. You can see the NA9 canister right there. And also the provision up above the gas tank is also present, which I won't be able to show you, but I will tell you that it is there. Maybe I can focus on the lower tab on the radiator support, but it's also present. And another really cool factor about this car, it does retain the heavy duty cooling 165 for the 4-row fan shroud still exists on this car. So that's really cool too. So that remained all of those years. We also have correct 70 Chevelle with the provisions for the TCS switch. They've been re-chromed, as you can see. They're a little too triple chrome plated, but the original 70 model valve covers are still with this car as well. Of course, like I said, re-chromed. And I'll give you a quick shot of the cowl tag. Walk around here and get to it. Of course, you can see it has the incorrect master cylinder and a replacement power brake booster. You can see where it says Delco Moran with the writing face up on an original assembly line. That should be upside down, and there'll be a date appear on this tab. Well, you can see on a replacement there's no number for a date. So this is a replacement with a Delco Moran stamped right side up, not like an assembly line that was backwards, upside down. So here we go on the Van Nuys. Of course, we got 1970 and 13637 and BL for the Van Nuys assembly plant. And then below that we have, let me focus here, the 756 trim. Of course, like I said, the black bucket seat interior. Of course, you see the 07073, the body number, 58, of course. I'm not sure if I touched on that yet, but this car was born autumn gold, upper and lower, and you can see the 04A right there for the first week of April. Car does also retain the correct upper and lower, the crank pulley coded AC and the upper fan pulley for the air conditioning with the code AO, which is correct for the air conditioned car. Try to show you down the driver's side as best as I possibly can, and the body. I believe the date on this wheel here is October the 7th. Yes. So that's a pretty good ways off, like I said, for a April built car. Now, as you can see, we've got a lot of reproduction, door panels, seat covers, carpet, dash, you know, which I think we've been over before in some of my previous videos. But the turn signals, the high beam, and the brake light, the emergency brake light, are not supposed to be accented in the chrome trim. Also, I believe, you know, on a repo dash, that trim is just simply too chrome. The originals were never quite that chrome, and of course, I've seen a lot of low-mile, untouched dashes in my time, and I can tell you, there's just never really that shiny. If you look, you can see the tack on the left-hand side has got the correct green hue, and it appears like the speedometer has been changed and it is white, but the rest of the gauges, and appears like that clock is probably a reproduction. And the other gauges, the temperature and the fuel and the amps, they appear to be correct. Again, an air-conditioned car. Another cool factor option on this car, it is a floor shift tilt, but we don't have a build sheet to really prove that, although it is a floor shift tilt 4-speed with the reverse lockout provision still on the frame to this car. You can see the reproduction, and the dash pad in this car is not really good. It's a pretty bad. The reproduction sometimes is just really, and this one is not very good. The owner also agrees. But one thing that I did notice shows this car has lived an excellent life, somewhat of one, is the back seat is still the original, which Van Nuys, California has been known to put build sheets in the seats as well as on top of the gas tank. Well, the gas tank in this car, of course, is brand new, and there's no build sheet on top of the gas tank, of course, but there was a possibility there could be one in this back seat. So we did try and we did look, but of course we knew the chances was slim and none that it would be there, being this car has been totally restored. And you can see the incorrect mirror with the indented. It should be a bullet mirror, and of course dated, a dated glass. I'll work my way back around this way on the car. It does have a March built rear axle, CCF, Positraction in the car, and the partial VIN stamp, although it's hard to read, like all Van Nuys partial VIN stamps on engines that I've seen. A lot of them are very tough to read. It does have the partial VIN stamp present on this 854 casted A9 of 70. So the January 9th cast 854 engine in this car. It has, which I cannot show you with enough room here, but it does have the early style with the stool and the slotted provisions for the rear tail light housings, and it has a reproduction bumper pad, which the owner claims that he more than likely will try to address that with an original equipment bumper pad. Give you a few shots of the passenger side. All the seat belts appear to be authentic and original in this car too. So really, really cool car. 4-speed with air conditioning, Positraction. Appears to have the original axle and original block still with the car. Been in California almost its entire life, which I can show you some of the old registrations over here now. Which I'll walk over here and show you some of that. If you'll look, you can see in 72, Los Angeles, 73, Los Angeles, Inglewood, California, 74, 73, Inglewood, 75, 78, El Segundo, California, 85, Playa del Rey, California, 87, the same place, on and on and on. 93, the same place. 86, so again, all the way up until sometime after 2000, 2008, I think it went to Arizona, and then just a short period of time in Canada, and right back down here to California. So this car is truly a desert 70 Chevelle California car, built and sold new. So this is definitely a true California car. Autumn gold upper and lower, black bucket seat interior with Tach and Gauges and Positraction rear axle, and appears to have power steering as well. Really nice, solid example. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you that follow me understand the way I have drugged some of these out of fields and barns and basements, that, you know, a lot of cars that are really rusty are still being fixed. So to find a car like this that has this type of metal and this type of frame that's been dry and in the desert its entire life, that is a huge plus when you're talking about having an excellent car where things just work right, the metal is right, things just look good, it's not pitted, you know, the doors are just solid as they can be. It's just, it makes a major difference to find this type of a car out here in the western states. Again, I'm Patrick Glenn Nichols, Muscle Car Barn Finds. If you need your 70 Chevelle authenticated and you want video published of your car, again, I am a guy that I like to create the permanent record. I do not like reports. They get lost and people can change them. A lot of things can happen. But when I video and I publish this video, it's permanent. And it answers a lot of questions years from now that you might not even know that you could answer, so that it will be on this video. It is definitely a beneficial way to look back on the history of a car. You know, here we are in September of 2022, and this is a pretty good video of the way things are, along with I publish, you know, 40 to 60 to 80 photos of this car's driveline and body through my social media pages, which also helps to create a permanent record of this car as well, along with the fact that I issue my endorsement to this car as well, which I will be doing. This is definitely a Super Sport 396 L34 car with air. So again, if you need assistance authenticating your car, you can contact me at pnichols26 at Yahoo, or Patrick Glenn Nichols, Muscle Car Barn Finds, on Facebook and YouTube. I really appreciate all of the interest and all of the input and all of the people that reach out and want to use me, and the kind words of the people that have used me in the past, of the reviews that I receive for doing this job. This is not only just a job to me, this is a super, a big passion of mine. A lot of what I do in my professional life is what I do in my personal life. So I'm having fun, and I couldn't be any more thankful to be doing what I'm doing, and I could not be doing that with a lot of you that are behind me and support me in my Facebook and my YouTube channel. So again, I want to say thanks to that. If you want to contact me, please reach out. Thank you. More videos on the way.